Morning, everyone. We are going to be going live here in a moment with the Porterhouse Property Group. They are a Pointe3 team located in Enumclaw, and they've grown significantly over the last few years, and just thought it would be a good opportunity for us to catch up with them, see how the market is down where they're at, and any tips for buyers and sellers out there. And talk a little bit about their team. So they're going to pop on here any moment, and we'll get started. Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, thank you for coming on. I guess I just wanted to sit down. You guys have so much going on down in the southern, South Seattle, Pierce County, South King. And I think a lot of people, just because Seattle has been sprawling, you guys are getting a lot of the buyers who would otherwise be buying in Seattle are kind of getting squeezed out. And so I think that's kind of created some issues with you guys in terms of your inventory and just a really, really hot market, which maybe you haven't experienced before down there, just because there's so much different types of housing and different areas that people can land in, but yet you're still so close to the city. You have different transit options, but also the work from home movement, I think, has also contributed to that as well. So why don't we just start a little bit, like talk about your team and how you guys got started and everything there.
Yeah, so we have a team down here in the Enumclaw office. We call it Porterhouse Property Group. We're a team of 6 agents, with Eric and I being the team leads. We have a great office down here. We love it in the Enumclaw area. We got started in real estate because we actually were thinking about starting buying and flipping houses and remodeling houses. And we had an agent that we were working with, and honestly, we were like, man, I think this could be done a little bit better. We could elevate the service here a little bit. And so we were both entrepreneurs at heart, and so we jumped in full force and haven't looked back since. We absolutely love every second of it.
Yeah. And with that, Eric, I mean, you've remodeled homes, and that's kind of your bread and butter, right? Is like the restoration and kind of that side of the business.
Yeah. So I grew up, my dad was a home builder, a custom home builder. And then in the late 90s, they bought a custom cabinet and millwork business. So I've been kind of surrounded by the build side of things my whole life. And so it really intrigued me, especially when we redid our old home, which is on Porter Street, which is our namesake for Porterhouse.
Yeah.
Which essentially we just moved our office to this old home here on Porter Street, which makes more sense now. We enjoyed bringing everything back to life. I mean, we love especially older homes, and there's a lot of old homes down here in Enumclaw that are in need of some restoration. And I think the combination of the population moving down here and having, kind of that flexible work strategy within their companies, they're able to move down here, get a little bit of elbow room, and maybe live the dream of restoring an old house. So I think it really kind of encompasses all of the things that people maybe have dreamed of doing, and now it's a possibility.
Yeah, for sure. And you've done commercial space too. So it's not just residential, but you've also kind of dabbed in commercial.
Yeah. So there's a couple buildings in downtown Enumclaw that we listed. And then we also helped restore one of the most prominent vintage commercial spaces down here in Enumclaw, and we're really proud of that. We found a person to lease it, right? And so it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Little Enumclaw is just so cute. I think it's kind of one of the only cities in King County that still has that character, the historic charm. You have the greenery around it. I mean, it's just, it's a beautiful little town. So also I wanted, before we move on and kind of talk about real estate and the team, but you guys just recently moved a house on semi-trucks. Let's talk about that a little bit, because that's, I think, not an everyday occurrence.
Yeah. It's an undertaking, and it's still in progress right now. It's really difficult to find subcontractors that stick to dates, so it's still up on its cribbing right now.
Gotcha.
The foundation's been poured underneath of it, but yeah, we found a 1930s home here in Enumclaw that was next to a church that they were going to tear down, and we're big proponents of trying to keep the Enumclaw history alive. So we thought, hey, let's pick up a house and move it. My uncle's done it a couple of times, and my parents did it back in the 80s, but there's a lot more power lines and fiber and all kinds of stuff than there were back in like, 88, 89. So it's been challenging, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you guys shot a really cool video, like kind of documenting the whole thing, and you had to do it at night, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, the permitting.
It was supposed to take about 4 hours, but it took from about 10 o'clock until 6 in the morning.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
It was intense, but so cool to watch it. So many, and that's where Enumclaw comes together, and it's just such a cool town to live in. There were so many people that stayed up, and when it passed their house, they were out with the kids, watching and taking videos, and it was really cool experience for the whole town to join in on. And now we're excited to restore the house, and then now that we can do open houses again, I think it'll be a fun open house for a lot of the town to be able to come through and
totally
kind of see the full shebang.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Good. So you just moved your office back to the Porterhouse, and why don't you, I guess, talk a little bit about the team, because you guys have grown over the short few years that you've been in the market, really. And you guys have a really dynamic group of brokers there. They're really hungry and really smart and intelligent and what have you. So take it from there.
Yeah, so we've got an awesome team. So Eric and I, again, we're the team leads. We have a full-time licensed assistant, Sydney Reese, who is amazing. She is our third arm. She's absolutely perfect for our team, and has really enabled us to really focus on other things outside of the minutia of every day. And then we have Sean and Jessica, who are our oldest team members. They joined pretty soon, right after I joined, and it's really cool. Jessica, it's a husband and wife, Sean and Jessica started first, and she just hit the ground running and was able to replace her husband's income as a nurse. And so that her husband was able to step down as a nurse and join her on the team. And they're just hitting 2021 with rock star numbers and projections and goals, and super proud to have them. And then we have a younger broker, that's Caden Sharp, and he is just hungry. He is ready to learn, to listen, to help with anything. So we've just got a really great dynamic team, ready to serve anybody that's looking to buy or sell.
Yeah, and you also have an agent in Enumclaw, right? Or sorry, in Ellensburg.
Yes.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. So we just signed on Andrea over in Ellensburg. So that's been really nice. So our East Side clients, it's really convenient for them to be able to pass that over to Andrea and say, hey, we're looking for something. And as far as the Tri-Cities or what have you, she's able to jump in the car and go show homes over there. So that's really exciting as well, that we have that, especially with the way the passes are probably right now.
Yeah.
Right now, it's nice to have someone over on the East Side.
Yeah, and again, that goes into that flexible work schedule where people, from the West Side now are able to maybe move to the East Side, and still, not have to commute every day, but maybe commute a couple of days to work and telecommute the rest of the way. And so it's opened up those possibilities, and having her on the other side opens up our book of business as well.
And something that's really cool about Sean and Jess too, just to add a little caveat, is that they kind of grew up in the North End. So up in anywhere in the Mill Creek area, north of that. And so they're really Everett. They're really well versed in that area, it's great to have that holistic team, that knows exactly where price point should be and that type of thing. So that's a really good add.
Yeah, and even though you guys are you are more based down south. You guys have had plenty of listings up north, and like you said, in those areas, Mill Creek, Bothell, Redmond, all those areas too. So you kind of sprawl out and kind of hit everything. So, so going back to what your guys' bread and butter is, you guys are obviously representing a lot of buyers, but you also do a lot of listing. And I think amongst your competition that's kind of in your immediate surroundings, you guys stand out with, just your whole marketing package and kind of your outreach. So what are you seeing trend wise for down in your area?
In regards to marketing, or do you think?
Yeah, let's just start with actual market itself. So, how are things going for you?
Yeah, so the market is really hot down here. It's definitely the hottest that we have ever experienced. And talking to brokers that have been in the business for 10, 15, 20 years, they're saying the same thing. This is unprecedented times for the South End. we're seeing some of the things that is commonplace in Seattle and in the more dense, high density areas. So we're seeing, multiple offers. We're seeing waived inspections or high demand for pre-inspections. We're seeing a lot of all cash or including what they call a 22AD, which is a form that covers the difference between an appraisal and the list or and the price that they offer on the home, which is, we didn't see that very often down here at all. I mean, maybe a handful over the last 4 years. And now we're seeing them with just about every single offer, and for sure in every single listing, you're having at least one with an AD. So, and
pretty aggressive AD too, not just, 5-10 grand, we're talking up into the 30s and 40s, for low appraisal. So yeah, it's crazy.
And then we're our inventory is still tight down here. It's nice that we have a bigger area, but with geographically, the South has we're more sprawled out. So we've got more, supposedly we should have more homes, but right now in January we had less, in Enumclaw alone, we had less than half a month of inventory, which is, as we all know, 6 months is a balanced, healthy market. And so we're down to half a month. So it's very, very tight, which makes competition tough. So our buyers are we're really having to keep them going and, rah-rah and cheer them on and say, hey guys, keep going, because it's going to take a couple times most of the time until you get your offer accepted. So.
Yep, exactly. And so what are you seeing on the selling side when a house goes on the market? You guys are doing review periods and you're doing pre-inspections prior and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, we are. We're we started off the year with doing, generally we give about 5 days or a week or so for the offer review date. But what we're finding is there's so much traffic that goes through these listings that our sellers are getting exhausted. I mean, they're out of their home from 8 a.m. until, 9 p.m. every day. And especially if they have young kids or busy schedules, it's really difficult to do that for 5 to 7 days, right? And so we're finding now that we'll probably move towards listing the home late in the week and then doing an offer review, like on Sunday evening, just because, there's hundreds of people that go through these homes and it's almost overkill, and so we want to give the weekend for people who have busy schedules during the weekday to come and see, and now that we can do open houses, come see the open, and give them an opportunity to throw their hat in the ring. But I think the 5 to 7 day offer review period is just, it's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. Yeah,
I agree with that too. We're kind of seeing that up here. You want buyers to do their due diligence and what have you, but when you're just having the sheer volume of people coming through the door, especially if you're representing a buyer, you're on it. You see a listing come up, it gets sent to the buyer. The buyer immediately is like, yes, let's see it, and you're moving things forward. So to be on the market for 7+ days or even 5+ days, sometimes it's just too much. You don't really need to have it on that for that long. So.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times buyers get exhausted with seeing that there's an offer review date in 5 days and they get all their ducks in a row, and then it comes down to it and they've already accepted an offer 3 days into it. We don't like to be, to list houses that way and to pull it off the market earlier than need be, but sometimes it's necessary. But we like to try to stick to our offer review dates if possible.
What do you think going into spring and summer? Because that's typically when we see a lot more come on. Do you think you're going to see a flux of inventory? Or you think it's going to be still kind of skeleton listings?
I think it's hard because at least for our clientele down here in the South, that a lot of them that are wanting or thinking of selling have to be buyers, and so they see what it's like right now to be a buyer, and so I think that's frightening them a little bit and making them still a little cautious. So I hope as the weather picks up, more maybe some of the investors that don't want to hold on to rentals right now, or can kind of start to relieve some of that pressure, and then there'll be more inventory, and then those sellers that have to become buyers will feel more confident moving forward. But I think throughout this entire year, it's going to be a pretty tight market down south, and it's going to be highly competitive.
Yeah, and that does create the gridlock, right? Because you do have buyers that need to move, but they need to sell their house first. And you can't very well put in contingent offers because that's just completely out of the question. So it's kind of like, well, what do you do? Do they, sell their house first, move into a rental that's temporary, and then find a house from there? Or do you just try to, find that perfect scenario and just be waiting there for a year or two to find that scenario? But yeah, it's very difficult. It's a hard one. So
it is. So yeah, so we're trying to reach out to those sellers and let them know, it is a great time, and hopefully, we've got some rentals that we own, and that we're thinking of possibly, we've got some that are coming up to be vacant that we're thinking maybe we'll hold off and have these rentals as spots for our little layover spots for our sellers that need a little crash pad between that period where they need to sell their house because they need the funds to purchase the new home, but can give them kind of a little bit of a crash pad that can fill that gap in between.
That's a good idea.
It's just trying to be creative to kind of, I mean, this market's really asking us agents to really think outside of the box and get creative, because as much as it is a good market and we're very blessed, it is a challenging market still. Nonetheless.
The other way too, and I don't know if you've seen this a lot, is doing the rentbacks, which and sometimes that's accepted and sometimes it's not. So when someone goes to sell their house, obviously they're saying we need 60 days usually is the max, just based on lender guidelines. But you could ask for the buyers or sellers who want to buy could sell their house, ask for a 60-day rent back from their buyer, and then basically have that 60-day period. But that is still very risky, because wonder if you don't secure a house in that time frame.
Exactly.
Right? So there's a whole bunch of risk with all this on all different levels. But anything specific that you guys kind of want to talk about as far as your team and kind of what you guys offer?
Yeah, I mean, I just think the cool part about our team is that we do have 6 different agents on the team that are all, and we kind of work all of our listings together. We work all of our buyers as a team. We're all here to help each other along the way. So it's really nice that you get a full team of agents that are helping you along the way. There's always someone there to show your house if you need a house to be shown immediately, and maybe one of the other agents or your standard agent isn't available, then one of us can always hop in and help, which makes it nice, especially in this competitive market. And we're just, we're young and we're hungry and we're always wanting to learn and grow and perform the best for our clients. So,
You guys are rock stars. You're also pretty involved in your community around you too. And I think that's, you guys obviously love where you live. You kind of embrace the community. And you're building that around you too, which I do think matters a lot when you're working in real estate and you're working with your clients. Your clients are either new to the area, maybe, then you're able to kind of give them that education that they wouldn't normally get otherwise of just a random agent who lives let's say not in your vicinity, but you kind of have this back knowledge and history with the community that I think is very unique too.
Yeah.
Yep, Tony was on council. I'm on currently a board member on the Enumclaw City of Enumclaw Chamber. So we try to keep our pulse on what's happening locally within the community. We try to get up to the mountain a lot and find out what's going on up there. It's so cool that we're literally 40 minutes away from the slopes, and we have rivers and hikes and all kinds of things around here that it's so easy to sell Enumclaw. It really is. And like you said, Ash, earlier, we have that, Main Street. I mean, it's Cole Street, but the main drag here, we're not a drive-through community. We're a mom and pop shop, more of a, what do we call it?
Shopkeepers town.
Shopkeepers town. So, and that's a rare find, and you can't really recreate that. Even though some of these small communities are trying to kind of recreate that feel, you'll never get that vintage brick and mortar, mom and pop shop feel. And so Enumclaw's done quite a few cool things, trying to think outside the box through COVID-19 and the pandemic, outdoor fire pits on Cole Street, closing that off so people can safely social distance. They've done cruises through Enumclaw and your vintage cars. So we've really rallied as a community to try to make sure that we maintain and keep all these businesses alive during this time. And that really shows a real true sense of community when things get rough, and people band together. That's pretty special. So I think that's another thing that is driving some of the traffic into Enumclaw. They've got their ear to the ground, and a lot more people are at home now, and they're able to tune in to what's happening around them. And Enumclaw is kind of the buzz right now. So I'm proud to be able to sell real estate here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
Taking clients around town in the cars, and showing them around town and saying, this is our favorite restaurant for a cocktail. This is our favorite restaurant for, shrimp linguine. And so, yeah, that's one of our favorite things to do. And being living in the neighborhoods that you're selling, being involved in the neighborhoods that you're selling really gives you a leg up on being able to give the clients a full experience on where they're moving.
Totally. Yeah, I even know because my parents are in Bonnie Lake. They always are like, oh, we're going to go to Enumclaw tonight. Kind of pre-COVID, but I know things have started to kind of open up now. And so that's kind of a spot for them, even though it's, 15, 20 minutes away. They just like, it's very down to earth, and you do have kind of the boutique-y, restaurants, and you have breweries and, all that sort of thing too. So for all you out there who haven't visited, it's even just a day trip out there. I think you just get out of your place, you've been quarantining, you're stuck at home. Even just driving out there is gorgeous, just with the cows and and the mountain in the background. And so, are you guys seeing many new construction projects around you guys?
Yeah, so we've got some pretty big ones that are wrapping up. The Suntop homes are just finishing up. That was a couple hundred homes division that just sold out like that. Some new things that we're seeing that we haven't seen before, and Ash, maybe you've seen this up north, is that we, on the new construction projects, the newest one right now is Richmond American. It's a smaller development, but they're very nice homes. They're going into bidding wars on these new construction houses, which we haven't seen down here before, but all of a sudden now, it's multiple offers for new construction. And is that something that you guys see pretty regularly up north? Or?
We have seen it. It really depends on like how many they're releasing at once. So I'm assuming they're probably releasing in phases. And so they'll probably just have a few homes and then they'll go on the market. It's the same, like, are they doing like a 3 or 7 day reviews on them?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of crazy, because you think new construction, there's like a mass quantity, but if they are doing it in phases, and that technically for a developer, it's probably the smart way to get top dollar.
Totally.
You can't blame them, because inventory is just so low, and people do want, renovating the houses is great, right? If you're into that, you quickly learn what your buyer is interested in, right? If they have the time and the interest, then yes, they can remodel a home and take that project on. But a lot of there are a lot of buyers out there that just want a move-in ready product, and have some warranties behind it, and kind of just a move-in ready.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, anything else you guys want to share or cover?
No, but if anybody comes down to Enumclaw, make sure they stop by the office and say hi to us.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's a gorgeous space. What you guys have done with it, just in remodeling it, but the way you have it decorated too is just gorgeous.
Awesome. We'll have to do it. We'll have to do a live tour one of these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I hope you guys have a great Friday. You have a busy day ahead.
Yeah. Busy day.
Nice.
It's cold down. It's cold too.
Yeah.
It's like 27 this morning. Yeah.
Bundle up.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Any Valentine's Day plans?
Yeah, we're gonna actually go on a double date with cousin Amy, and
yay!
We're gonna go down to Sourcey's down in Sumner.
Oh yeah, nice. That's a classic.
We love Sourcey's.
Yeah.
Down there. Nice. Well, you guys enjoy your day and weekend, and again, thank you for popping on here. Again, I think you guys are pretty unique, and I love you guys.
Love you. Thanks so much for having us.
No problem. All right. Have a great day.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.